So I want to move straight into the setup. I want you to be able to address the golf ball correctly for a bunker shot, because there are definitely things that you need to do differently than if you were just hitting your sand wedge from the middle of the fairway. We need to try to create a position that's allowing us to make the right impact position, i.e. sand first, which we'll come into later in this series, and allow you to feel that we can use the club correctly. The next video, I'm going to talk about the bounce, but for this video, I just want to get you standing where we should be. So if I was going to have an 80-yard sand wedge shot from the middle of the fairway, then ball position is going to be in the middle. I'm going to have my feet sort of just over shoulder width apart, and I'm going to be standing in, dare I say it, my sort of normal iron setup position. If I move myself into my bunker position, you're going to see a few things that are going to change. Firstly, club face. We all know we want to have that as an open club face position. It allows the loft, it exposes the bounce, which we need. So I just need you to really understand, and again, you've probably had to live under a rock to not have seen this on social media at some way, shape or form, but it's a rotation first and then a grip. If you grip it and then like, oh, Andy's told me they need to open up the club face, unfortunately that's going to do nothing. Now, I'm in a practice bunker, I'm going to touch the sand because I can and there's no penalty. And to be honest, unless you're playing in a club competition, if you're playing with friends, just ground the club. I know you're not meant to, but we're here. We're just here to have fun. So if I've got to maybe ground the club and then rotate it open to grip it, then so be it. What I would do in a competition, if I still felt like I had to have the club on the floor first, then stand out of the bunker on the grass, open up the club face, then grip it so you've got that open face. It does feel quite daunting, but also it should give you a bit of confidence, because the extra loft is all it's going to do is going to help this ball to go up, and I'm definitely practicing in a bunker with quite a steep face, so I need that extra loft. So that's the first thing that's going to change. Secondly, ball position. I'm going to move that ball position forward because we know in a bunker shot, I'm not trying to hit the sand first. If the ball is in the middle of my stance and I still want to try and hit the sand first, I will have to sort of move into my trail side to make contact. I'm going to be very inconsistent. So I definitely move the ball position forward. So I've opened the face and I've moved that ball position forward. Now, when I'm still in my normal fairway iron swing setup, that face is pointing over to the right-hand side. The way that we change the lie angle and change the direction of the loft is by lowering the hands. So what you're going to see me now do is lower the grip, but obviously to compensate for the grip being lower, I need to get further away from the golf ball. That's going to help me to get the loft of the golf club back pointing towards the target. So it's not just a case of opening up the face and then hitting it from there. That opening sends the sends the club face towards the right-hand side. We now lower the hands to square that up. There used to be a coaching style in a bunker where we would open up the face and then we would rotate our body left and swing across that alignment. And we've now realized that that's probably not the best way or the most efficient way to get out of a bunker. It's easier to lower the hands and to stand further away to start with. So that's, again, another slight difference between my fairway setup with a sand wedge and my bunker setup. So I've opened the face, the ball is forward, I've now crept back, and then the last thing I'm going to do is just shift my trail foot a lot wider and shift my pressure so I'm not 50-50. I will play a bunker shot where I'm more in my lead side in my setup position. That for me allows me to get the correct sort of contact, and it allows me to stay very centered over the shot. I don't want to be shifting off to my trail side and then shifting forward. You want to feel that you can stay quite sort of over the golf ball through the shot. The best feeling that I have for this is feeling that I'm sort of sitting on a bar stool, just perching my left or my lead butt cheek on that chair, which then allows me to have a setup position. Now, from a hand position, when I'm here, I probably will have my hands either where I'd normally play a shot, so inside my left thigh, or slightly back if I'm trying to get some more loft. But the other thing that you just saw me do, which I didn't mention, a little bit of a wiggle. Now that wiggle is going to be very useful for you to have an understanding of how much sand is actually in the bunker. You'll be amazed there isn't like a, dare I say, like a uniform amount of sand that should be in a bunker. You have some bunkers that have loads of sand, you have some bunkers that have very little sand or a very thin layer of sand, and even within that bunker there will be inconsistencies due to people raking the ball. What you often quite find is because during the day all the sand is being splashed into the lip, that we find that there's a lot of sand sort of in this sort of area underneath the lip, and then we get less and less sand more in the middle. So depending on where your golf ball finishes, there can be a change in that. So for example, I'm filming this in the UAE in the middle of the desert, and I would argue that this doesn't have a lot of sand, which is very ironic. But also, it is quite a common theme in the UAE where I've played a few courses that don't have a lot of sand. But in the UK, I'd say that there's probably nearly too much sand in some bunkers. So you just need to have that understanding of what you are dealing with in that shot. So doing this allows me to feel that it's quite firm, and therefore I probably know there's not a lot of sand underneath that, which therefore could maybe make my decision making on club selection a little bit different, which I'll come into.